Good morning, everyone who managed to join us online today. We are here as Kagiso Trust to share with you the journey that we have had with the districts that we have worked with, and we wanted to share our work with the entire country. And in this sharing of our work, we've got a model that we're implementing, and this model has different elements. But for today, we're going to share 3 of those elements that we've identified as a game changer in the education system and in how people do their work. Before we indulge you on what we're going to do for the entire day, let me allow our CEO, Ms. Mankodi Miyitse, to welcome you all.
She is currently muted.
Time where we all grapple with the challenges of poverty, inequality, and the webinar provides us a unique opportunity to share experiences, to learn from one another, to learn from the experts, to explore innovative practices that can be adapted, which is an important factor. Solutions that cannot be adapted will not be able to cope with the changes that are happening in the world today. This webinar aims, therefore, to highlight how the whole school district development model has improved the learner performance and behavioral changes over the years, and has contributed to the success of education stakeholders, including district directors and school principals. The whole school development model has been a game changer in transforming the education system in South Africa. Through its focus on empowerment and education and transformation workshops, effective leadership, teacher development support, improved learner performance, and incentive-based infrastructure, partnership with government, with other private sector partners, with community members, the model has demonstrated significant success, particularly in the Free State and in the Sekhukhune East District. During this webinar, we will hear from experts in education and education stakeholders who will share their experiences and insights into the impact of the whole school development model. I encourage you all, and we all encourage that we invite one another and others to participate, engage effectively, share our thoughts and your thoughts and experiences openly. Together, we can help develop practical solutions to improve the quality of education and really transform our education system for the better to meet the needs of the learners and our society. We are delighted, therefore, to have you join us, and we hope and encourage interactions that will benefit all of us immensely. The webinar marks a significant milestone in our effort to transform education in South Africa. So we look forward to fruitful discussions. And with these words, I therefore once again welcome all of you, our students, to our thank you, Susan.
We would also like to apologize to everyone who's online for the late start and say that don't worry, you are not going to regret that you are here, you are part of us today. And from this moment now, I would like to call upon Themba Mola, the Chief Operations Officer of Kagiso Trust and the first captain in the ship, just to ensure that he is giving us insights and setting the scene as to why exactly are we here and what is it that we hope to achieve. But above everything, it's so important to know where do we come from as Kagiso Trust with the education model, the district whole school development model, and what is the journey has been and where are we going and where would we like us to be in the coming years, and also how do we hope to influence not only the districts that we have worked with, but the entire education system in the country. So this is just a way for us saying we want to share with you our journey so that you take the lessons, and we hope that this will be replicated from district to district until the entire country is also implementing the model, and we can see the changes that we are seeing in the district where we are. Themba, over to you.
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Very excited to and looking forward to the conversations that are about to happen. We have invited the practitioners, people who have first-hand experience on how the program has worked. It's always important that those who have a lived experience can be given an opportunity to talk about that lived experience. The education in education, in particular public schooling. And this vested interest is informed by the fact that there is a significant number of South Africans who depend on public schooling. And it is for that reason that we need to make sure that we work with all the challenges that the public schooling system could be confronted with. We designed a model several years ago, which is based on a partnership with the Department of Basic Education, where together we invest in the program to make sure that there is resources availed to public schooling. And over a period of time, we work with respective schools. I think our focus has always been the district, because a lot of schools are supported by districts. And it is for that reason that we work with a district. We spend a bit of time to appreciate the challenges that are confronting public schooling. There seem to be a background noise. Yeah. So we would spend several years with respective districts. We started in Tamomfutsanyana in Kwakwa some years ago, and happy to say that since that inception, the district has been performing exceptionally. We then went to Moteo and Fezile Dabi, spent a period of 8 years dealing with various elements in the education pipeline, teacher professional training, leadership development, infrastructure development. These are the elements of the district whole school model which are implemented over a period of time. And happy to say, and this is evidence available, that the Free State has been performing exceptionally well, in particular the very districts that I've mentioned, Fezile, Dabi, and Moteo. Subsequent to that, we moved to Sikukune in Limpopo, and we were beginning to see very encouraging signals of success. And we are still building. This model entails putting a lot of effort in making sure that we transform the system, we improve the efficiency and functionality of the pipeline, so that our children who are who go to these schools are given a competitive chance in life, because schooling is quite imperative. And we are really excited that we can today, with the partners, really begin to reflect on the successes that we have achieved over time, and also to appreciate the challenges that these successes are intended to resolve. On that note, I want to hand over to Caesar to proceed with the discussion. Thank you very much.
And I can safely say that we are in motion. Now that we have set the scene for us, we are ready to travel with the different specialists, beneficiaries, people who have walked the journey with us. We sat down as the organization and said, we've been telling our story. Maybe this time around it's better to bring in real people who have been impacted by the support from Kagiso Trust, whom we have walked the journey through thick and thin. When it is bad, when it is happy, we're celebrating together. When things are not working well, we'll also go back to the drawing board to work to see what is the next phase of our program. For the next speaker, let me introduce you to Mr. Hobe Mamelo, and he's a young man who has done wonders in education, and all the way from Odedal Srast in the Free State, and born in the 80s. I'm surprised that people from the 80s are doing massive in the education system. And he is educated. He is passionate. He is within the Mutewa district, and it shows from his bio that he is so passionate about education. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in a cum laude. Did you hear that? Cum laude. And from the Free State in the Free State, Cat University in the Free State, and he was majoring in English, psychology, and public administration. No wonder we are doing well in the office of the director. And he also holds a postgraduate certificate in education, also from CUT in the Free State. He has a Bachelor of Arts honors in psychology from UNISA, so you can work well with how people think, which is so important in education, because changing human behaviors, it takes time and it takes a lot. It's not like when you're in a factory, you will count that I want to produce 100 bottles. But with human beings, you have to be careful, and it takes a lot of time. And he holds a master's in education with specialization in psychology of education from the University of Free State. Currently, he is studying for a PhD in education with specialization in psychology of education with the University of the Free State. His occupation, he is the Deputy Chief Education Specialist in the Office of the District Director in Mutewa District, and he is interested in debate and public speaking. And Mr. Mukhulo will take us through today to share with us how the ETWs, at your time we're calling them the retreats, and that name of the retreat still sticks. So now they are called the Empowerment and Transformation Workshops. We want to know how the ETWs transformed the system in the district and the school support, improving how you support schools as district officials, and what are the opportunities to embed to the empowerment and transformation workshops in the system. Dr. Mokhoba, over to you.
Thank you so much, Caesar. Thank you so much, Abudi Temba. But I really just want to pass the apology of the district director and Tate Moloi, who could not be with us here today, as he's engaged in other prior district and provincial engagements. He really wanted to be here. We also had a long discussion with him yesterday during the night. Just in preparation, he's happy. But then I guess, you know, the challenge of leadership, Abudi Temba, is that one should be able to produce leaders whom, you know, can take the baton and can run the race, because eventually none of us are going to be here forever, and we really have to do a lot in producing other leaders who can ensure that the district, or rather the education space, does well. But before I continue then to talk about the retreats or the empowerment and transformation workshops, I also just wanted to share with you the Motheo Education District profile. We are one of the 5 districts in Motheo Education District whom, you know, we are one of the 5 education districts in Motheo Education District in the Free State Province. And as we will say, or as the district director would say, we learn so much from our sister districts. We have learned so much from Thabo Mofokeng. We have learned so much from Fezile-Dadi. We have learned a lot from Lejoli-Putswa and Kharib as well. So we are a product of all of that, of our sister districts, lessons we learn from them. And they also are not shy to tell us where we are doing wrong and where we are not doing wrong. We have the largest learner component and the largest staff component in the Free State. So as such, we really propel the performance of the province in all the grades. Motheo has about 6,510 educators. We also have 288 schools. Whereas Thabo Mofokeng has more schools than us, we have more learners. As it stands, we have 215,607 learners just in Motheo Education District. I think it's very clear from the picture. Just I wanted to make a pictorial representation of where we are. You will see that Motheo is right in the heart of the Free State. And of course, with the pass rate for the 2022 NSC exams, we sit currently at number 1 in the country, number 1 in the province at 90.8. But let's talk about the before the retreats then. Let's talk about what was the state of the district before the empowerment and transformation workshops. The district was characterized by disunity. We were characterized by disinterest, where a lot of people were not interested in going an extra mile. A lot of people were not interested in being innovative. If resources weren't there, it was just, we don't have resources, so what else can we do? We were characterized by mistrust. We were characterized by disregard for authority, where a lot of people would not care whether you are an authority figure. So we were also characterized mainly by poor performance. And we were just almost bordering on dysfunctionality. So that was Motheo before the empowerment and transformation workshop. But then, thank God to the late former MEC for Education, Dr. P.H.I. Mahwe, may his soul rest in peace. Because it was in 2016 that he said, you know what, this giant that is Motheo, you cannot be this big and not become really influential in the performance of the province. And then he said to us, you know, verbatim, that this sleeping giant should really wake up. So it was at that time that we were taken for retreats, we were taken for the empowerment and transformation workshops, which really demanded a lot from all of us. It demanded a lot from all of us. Moreover, the product of the retreats
we were able to come with the district motto or the district mantra. We then said we are the district on the rise to greatness. And that surely wasn't easy because at the time we weren't really performing. And a lot of people said, what greatness are you talking about? We then also ensured that in order to ensure that there's unity and that there's uniformity, all of us, we then had the district colors, black and lime. I think Motheo Education District in the education space now is known for black and lime. But that ensured one thing, that ensured that the team spirit was there, because this was the product of the retreats, where we were able to identify ourselves as a team. Uniformity was there and there was unity. The retreats were able to give us the spirit of camaraderie. It was able to ensure that all officials, all the foot soldiers are very patriotic. And there was a spirit of selflessness where people ensured that, it's not about me. There's a bigger picture to what we were doing. Moreover, a lot of our officials really showed commitment. There was alignment now with regards to the strategic objectives of the department in ensuring that we raise the bar, we close the gaps, and that we support the learners in all grades. But the biggest thing that we had to ensure, or the biggest product of the retreats, was the celebration of excellence. The district, there were small pockets of excellence there and there, and we had to ensure that we celebrate excellence. Even if it was an improvement of 2%, we had to celebrate that improvement and ensure that we rally everybody behind that. So the current DMT took over the district in 2015. And when this DMT took over, led by the district director, Mr. Moloi, we were performing at 74.8 pass rate, with bachelor's 28.9. And it's safe to say that today, the district is sitting at 90.8. So that's a great leap for the current DMT, and then KST walked the journey with us, and it's safe to say during that time it was very turbulent. Those were turbulent years, but moreover, or rather interestingly, just a moment there. We are good. So the current DMT, as I've said, took over the district in 2015, and in 2022 we see the district sitting at 90.8. What was the journey, or how the journey has really been like? Firstly, you would see that the trump card for us was how the district director embraced the retreats, because the process of retreating people itself means that even the leaders have to change. The leaders have to embrace that process, because when you take the deep dive and people are telling you what you are doing wrong, people are telling you where you are dropping the ball, I can only imagine it must not have been easy for the district director to sit there and hear everybody saying, "Director, this is where you are dropping the ball." And subsequent to that, it was then the entire DMT which had to sit there and take it from the officials to say, this is where you are dropping the ball as the entire DMT. That required us to be honest with ourselves. It required all of us to take that and not treat ourselves as holy cows. So the trump card, or the secret in how the retreats actually work, is that they should be embraced even from the leadership. The leadership should not see themselves as holy cows, where they cannot be told where they're dropping the ball, where they cannot be told where they're doing wrong. But then the shift in how the retreats then came to say, okay, it's fine. It's often very easy to tell people what they are doing wrong. But then can we point that finger at the self and say, Hobe, this is where I am dropping the ball. That in itself allowed all the officials to look at themselves critically, to say it's okay to point other people's mistakes. And it's often very easy to criticize when you are doing nothing. But when you are in the arena, when you are getting your hands dirty, and you are facing the mud and you are dealing with the mud, often then taking that hand back and saying, this is where I am failing. Moreover, the journey has been so great that we allowed ourselves not only to become a grade 12 district, but then to look at the whole system. This is why, as we stand, we are the current reigning #1 in the country based on primary school support and learning outcomes, as announced by the Minister of Basic Education at the National Education Excellence Awards in April 2022. But then we said, one of the products or one of our commitments after the retreats was that we just don't want to do good academically, we want to do good in all other aspects of education as well. This is why today we are also celebrating the district being #1 in the country for the implementation of the National Schools Nutrition Program. We said it cannot just be in academia, in all aspects as well. We have to do well. So it has really been a good story to tell. In that, then when the district took over, 2016, we then went to 85.5 pass rate. 2017, we dropped 82.5, which was very painful at that moment, because once you have tasted a bit of success, and now you are experiencing the downhill again, it starts to you often even question yourself as to were these strategies working? Was I even right in making certain decisions? However, it's very nice, because then you were there with us through the whole entire process. It was then again in 2018 that we went back for another retreat, just to ensure that we have a statement of commitment, that we reaffirm the commitment, because even more like motivation, it is really more like it's like a roll-on. You need to apply it once again, over and over again, such that you are relevant to the system, you respond to the challenges of the time, you ensure that the strategies that you have now are aligned, and that the commitment of all the officials is still very relevant. And then of course in 2018 we improved to 85.1, and that's when really the celebration of small pockets of excellence. We were very hard as the DMT, with the director leading that, to say it really does not matter, even if it's an improvement of 4%, even if it's an improvement of 2%. The fact of the matter is that this presents an upward trajectory. This presents the commitment the officials, the foot soldiers of the districts, the principals, and the educators have really dedicated to ensuring that we live to the mantra of ensuring that there's greatness. In 2019 then, we went to 87.9. 2020, surprisingly, the results dropped across the system. However, this is when Motewa came into the top 10 in the country in 2020 at 85.4. 2021, we were sitting at 87.9, and 2022, which was the biggest for us, we were sitting at 90.8, being #1 in the country. However, now comes the real challenge, and this is when Abu Ditemba, the district director will say, when you have your 40 seconds, ensure that you use it profitably. Because at this point, the district will, or rather has new members. Even in the DMT, the district has new members, new additions, new principals who have been promoted. And I think it is more critical that at this time, we be retreated, such that the commitment, it's there even for the new members, that the new members can also align themselves to the team spirit, they can align themselves to what we really committed ourselves into, because with the addition of new members comes new dynamics as well. And that right there speaks for the opportunity, which I will speak about later, embedded in the system for the retreats and for, or rather, empowerment and transformation workshops. I'll speak to that later. But moreover, as I have said, this could not have been an easy process. There was resistance to change. People resisted. It was not easy, because you are coming with new things. You are asking me to be selfless. You are asking me to be more committed. So it really needed us to create some kind of organizational awareness to say, who exactly are we as Motewa Education District? Where do we want to go as Motewa Education District? But moreover, how can we do that? This needed individual and team character affirmation, because a team is comprised of individuals. So the retreat allowed us to go down to the level of an individual to say, look, this is how the district director Moloi is, this is how the CES Memagadla is like, this is how the CES Ntatemo Talamadi is like. These people are individuals with their weaknesses, with their flaws, but as well with their strengths. But when you combine the strengths of each and every individual, you get something dynamic. We also had to go through the process of reviewing our performance as to where exactly are we not getting it right. That was a brutal process because we all needed to be very honest with the system. So that is why we then, those who have been retreated, the moment you say we are taking a deep dive, they will tell you exactly how brutal that process is. But we also needed to review our value system to say, what are the things that are non-negotiable? What are the things that we can negotiate? What are the things that all of us, if you do this, we know that everybody will frown upon it. So we needed then to review our value system to say these are our values, which also allowed us to create the district charter with our values that are non-negotiable. But moreover, we visualized change. We said this is where we want to go, but that would not have become possible without even itemizing that change. We then said these are the things that we needed to stop, these are things that we need to continue doing, and these are certain things that we needed to start doing. So it was a good process of allowing us to even itemize that change. Moreover, as I have said, the retreats challenged the DMT to communicate and to draw up those non-negotiables and the target achievements. It allowed us, or rather instilled, team spirit and organizational unity of purpose in the broad management, subject advisors, circuit managers, section heads. Every official could now say, this is who we are as Motawa Education District, this is what we stand for. But moreover, the continued, because being retreated is one thing, but then how do we sustain that motivation? Coupling it with PILO as well for leadership, for mentoring, for coaching, that right there was the trump card in terms of the empowerment and transformation workshops, because it allowed constant motivation, such that when the motivation levels were fluctuating, PILO would come in to say, okay, remember the commitment you made at the retreat. So that was quite excellent. What we have then identified as well, in terms of the opportunities for the empowerment and transformation workshops in the system, was to say we now have replicated the model to retreat our underperforming schools. Because many a times underperformance is not because people do not know or have knowledge gaps or content gaps. Sometimes it's purely because of personality clashes. Sometimes it's because as a deputy, I was an acting principal. I am now disappointed that we have appointed a new principal who is taking over from me. So how then do we bridge the gap of ensuring that COBE deals with that disappointment? So underperformance is really due to a lot of factors, but retreating underperforming schools has allowed us for those schools to then get back to their senses to say, look, let's have a unity of purpose. Let's strive to one thing, and these are our achievement targets. Moreover, schools at risk due to management issues or governance issues, we then we replicated the model in bringing everyone, because sometimes even an administrative clerk can be very influential in the school. You can use an admin clerk to ensure that they drive the school agenda. But new schools as well, we have done that. Just to, I remember we had a conversation with Mayor NG, and she was very impressed when we retreated one of our new primary schools, Caleb Motabi. It was a new school, just started, with a plethora of challenges. And we were there, we retreated the school, we replicated the model. Caleb Motabi is one of our schools we are very proud of now. Despite the challenges they face in that community, it's a school to be very proud of. So it is safe to say that when we committed ourselves to say no sunshine will find us where the sunset has really left us as Motheo Education District. One of our trump cards, or one of the things that really propelled Motheo to be where it is the empowerment and transformation workshops. So if you forget anything I've really said today, one of the biggest things is to say it needs the buy-in from the district director. You cannot treat yourself, and this is one of the things that the district director really instilled in the DMT, to say, look, you are not holy cows because of these positions. Allow yourself to be led in as much as you also want to lead people. Yeah, so that was very critical for us, to also allowing ourselves at times to say, you don't know everything. This is why other people will become specialists in certain aspects. So allow yourself to be led in instances where you don't know much, and learn as much as possible. So these are some of the lessons we have learned from the empowerment and transformation workshops. So with that, I hope I did not go over the time allocated.
I don't think you've gone over the time allocated, because what we have shared, it's not even the end. So it's for everyone who would like to know more on Motheo. Now you know that there is Motheo District, and you can contact Kagiso Trust and be able to understand what is it that you are doing. In your words, for me, you have really responded well to our theme today, which is saying embedding change in the education system from learning to action. All what we have said is that whilst we're having plans, but those plans were put into action. And I agree with you. It's not easy to make yourself vulnerable, to be criticized. Sometimes you critique yourself with the sixth sense, your inner voice, but you don't want to hear it from someone else. And for ordinary people, it is easier to hold a red pen and always say, you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. But it's difficult to say that and come up to people, because when I recall how the ETWs will happen, you will not only agree internally that this is where I'm dropping the ball. I think this is the term that we've used, that who's dropping the ball? And you will stand up and say, I am dropping the ball on this and that and that. And that's the conversation that is very difficult. And this is one element where we've had difficult conversations. And it is only those schools or even those districts that will accept and buy in, as we have said, to say, sure, whilst I've been assisted, because we're not telling you that this is where we are wrong. We were just facilitating a conversation for you to identify where are the gaps, where are the challenges, and we also said we're not going to give you solutions, because solutions are with you. What solutions do you want to employ? And it was you who will then come up with an action plan that you made sure as district officials that it is implemented. But now I would like to move over to, when you're in the district, you're in the office. You're in an office with 4 walls, with heaters and all of that. And sometimes you might think that things are so easy. Maybe if you can help by loading Mr. Moholo's presentation in the moment. So I would like to introduce the next speaker, the person on the ground. And this person on the ground, whilst we have identified plans that we have worked with, the planning that we have put together as a district, he is going to indulge us as to what is the situation on the ground, because in terms of the empowerment and transformation workshops, the retreat, it is the first encounter with every school that we work with. It is where we understand what are the leadership challenges that are there, what are the curriculum gaps in terms of delivery, in terms of management. Remember, at the end of the day, at the core of everything, it is curriculum delivery, so that we can see learner improvement and our learners not only improving but improving with quality. Let me introduce to you Mr. Murakeng Mohulo. And Mr. Murakeng Mohulo was born on a farm, and that farm was called Middelplan in Bradford. You can see that these are the people that were not born in Sandton, but they were born in areas where they rose above the challenges. He was born in Bradford in the Free State, and he obtained his tertiary education in the University of the Northwest, the diploma in education. He also went on to study the Bachelor of Technology with specialization in commerce at the Central University of Technology in the Free State. He also had a B.Ed honors on education management with a CAT in the Free State. He also has a certificate on labor law at the University of Free State. He did a short leadership program. Amongst his work experience, he started from the bottom up. He started as an educator and at Excellent High School. He was teaching accounting, business studies, and commercial mathematics. He was also the department head at the same school at RT Mokgopa High School in Tabanchu. He then moved to be the deputy principal at Refihlelezi Combined School. He also became the deputy principals at Batmere School for the Deaf in Tabanchu. He is now the principal at Senzile Combined School in Herzogsville. And currently is the principal of Leratong Secondary School in Botshabelo. Amongst his achievement, he has achieved between 85 and 94.8% in matric as the result of being a principal at Senzile and Leratong Secondary School. And he represented South African Principals Association at African Confederation of Principals in Mombasa, Kenya. Can I repeat that? He represented South African Principals Association at African Confederation of Principals in Mombasa, Kenya. He is elected as the chairperson of Dr. J.S. Mroka Branch African National Congress, and his hobbies are reading, listening to music, and traveling. And Ntate Moholo, please take us through on the feeling from the ground, which might also collaborate what the district has said in terms of the journey that you have had with us.
Thank you very much, Ms. Caesar, and greetings to you, Ntate Temba. And I must thank my leader, Mr. Khobe, for having paved the way for me. Actually, he said everything about me. You know, I'm from that huge district. I'm from #1 district in South Africa, and I'm very proud. I'm walking tall. We are led by a very humble man. Let me not say a man, he's not just a man, a father of the district, Mr. December Moloi. And we really embrace what his leadership encompasses. We are also, as Leratong Secondary School, aligning ourselves to today's topic, embedding change in the education system in South Africa. So we are really led well by a humble man, Mr. Moloi, who leads with passion, who gives marching orders, and we run on those. And sometimes he can reprimand, but with laugh. And we just march. I don't know what I did. but then as I've said, I come from that district on the rise to greatness. And as a school, Leraton Secondary School, we believe in our district mantra that we want to really rise to the greatness. And this year, we also align ourselves as a school with the theme that we consolidate, we improve, and we make sure that we redefine the greatness we talk about. So, as we have said, I'm Rakem Moholo, the principal of Leraton Secondary School. Our school is situated deep in the rural middle of the Free State, in a town called Botshabelo. And then the motto of our school says, we strive to succeed. Then I would like to share work and insights of what has happened with us along with KST. Let me first give the background of how the school was before KST came to us. We are actually a Section 21 Quintile 1 school. The school was established in 1986. Then it was called Hlonaman Secondary School. And then it changed in 1996 to Leraton Secondary School. I arrived at this school in 2017. And then they told me about Hlonaman, and I asked, why did you change? They said the name was bringing bad things to the school. It was learners dying, teachers, and then they said, let's change, maybe it's the name, because rural Hlonaman. So then it was a place of love. Well, the roll this year is 1,584 learners. We've got 51 educators and 7 support staff members. Our poorest performance was in 2015, where we got 62% pass rate. So you can see that coming to Leraton was a mountain to climb for me as a leader. I had to do transformation, and there was no way I could do that without our education partners, Advocacy Trust. So you came at the right time when I arrived there. So the highest that the school achieved was in 2019. And this was a record % pass rate ever since the inception of the school, where we got 94.8%. And I must tell you, this came immediately after we had a retreat by KST. So currently in 2022, we dropped to 86.5%. But you know, in the Free State, when you have 86.5, you are a well-performing school. Then let me also take you through the state of the school during those years. The school was completely dysfunctional, underperforming. As I mentioned, 62% pass rate. And I found that there was no school when I arrived in 2017. The problem is the school took a long time without a principal. And everybody was doing what he wants. School was coming out at 10 o'clock, I'm told. And when I arrived there, things had to change. I found staff divided, lowest staff morale for those who wanted to work, but they had no support in the team. There was worst learner discipline. A school plagued with gangsterism. those years there was this BTK, gangsters. Remember, that is born to kill. So you wonder if you have learners in your school who belong to that. It means learners are not safe. You are not safe as well. There were drug and substance abuse at an alarming rate. And also, that was characterized by alarming rate of teacher and learner absenteeism as a result of what was happening there. For example, you find that we are right in the middle of a township, and opposite the school, there are 2 taverns. Next to our fence, we have these fruit markets. But you know, fruit markets at the location, it's not only fruit that is sold there. So you found that in the morning, learners are well behaved. But after break, learners have changed. And we found that over the fence, things were exchanged. So it was really tough. And then when we go to the core business, there was poor planning by our educators, and curriculum coverage was very low. As a result, there was poor academic performance from the lower grades to grade 12. And then you go to infrastructure. And I'm sad when I come to this one, because when I arrived in 2017, I found KST having built a block of classrooms, which Ndadekwabe earlier talked about. It was having graffiti, doors were broken. There is a powder in that wooden doors, which learners took and smoked it. So, poor state of disrepair of infrastructure and school environment. In that peak, that was how the environment was when I arrived. That is the block of structure that was built by KST. And thank you very much. We pride ourselves in it today. It even has bigger classes than our previous classes. We hope that you'll come again on board. Because you see now, when these classes were built, there were 1,200 learners. And then last year we had 1,660 learners. This year we have 1,584 learners. I don't talk about staff. They have nowhere to sit. 51 of them plus those 7 support staff members. School outside the environment, can you see how it was? So if you check in the peak there, this is a KST block, that beautiful one. And then this one is our old buildings there, which were built in 1986, when the school was established. Now look what I talked about earlier, that there was graffiti in class. And some of the signs you see there is those of gangsters. So if there are such, you will never get learners right. The environment was not conducive for the core business teaching and learning. Now look at this one. I talked about the drugs. So these were exchanged to my learners inside over the fence. Because at the gate there is security. Security will search. They will not get anything. But the fence is there before. You can pass a hand there. So learners will sell on behalf of those. In this plastic, there are small bags of marijuana. And then they will sell this cigarettes as well. I mean, who wants a school where learners smoke? You try to teach, you're not teaching beautiful kids, but you are teaching this thing inside them. Now, as I continue to share my insights, the aim of retreats, we understood it very well, to strengthen and sharpen the SMT to execute their curriculum delivery, which is what you said, Mrs. is the main thing. Monitoring and control mandate. So the KST conducted ongoing curriculum delivery workshops. Because all the models of KST are intertwined towards the main thing, curriculum. They empowered departmental heads or SMT with skills for development of own curriculum delivery monitoring tools that can suit schools' diverse needs and context. This is where it started. Mayor Vili then, the district manager in our province, organized this one for SMTs in the nearby primary. Then this was also to help address the challenge of staff divisions that we had. Cliques, which we had. We have gone through a horrible experience. And low motivation, the KST organized the staff development and the team building workshop starting at school, because Melville came to the school and talked to the staff. Later on, he brought the life coach. I remember he was here from Gauteng at our school. This was made possible by facilitation by our district director, Mr. Muloy, and the KST district manager, Melville. Now, the journey to change. That's where we say embedding transformation into the education system. Mentor coaching session at Bulgarian Primary School was one of the powerful sessions we had. There we were, as staff, trained how to deal with our learners. You see, this was addressing discipline so that we don't have that situation of graffiti, etc. There was that KST meeting, I've already mentioned it, with Melville. Staff development with a life coach. Then there was a plan for retreat, what we now call ETW, at Black Mountain Hotel. It's outside Tabanchu. It's at the outskirts. When you are there, you can only hear birds singing. So you can think there. You can read yourself. Each staff member was given a chance to state his challenges or her challenges and come up with resolutions. And I loved that very well. The motivator or the person who was facilitating this team building said, as much as you put your challenges, you must come up with resolutions. And this was a very emotional process. Some of us were shedding tears as we related how things used to be. And the things that we like and things that we don't love about ourselves. Then we came up with resolutions. And then time frames were also put there for implementation. And what I like most, KST made follow-ups after that retreat. I think 3 times they came. This is the empowerment transformation workshop we held in Black Mountain. There are my staff members. We were making those resolutions. Now, I want to relate, on the impact of this exercise. When we came back, my staff was united in song. We were singing, Sizojiki Isinto. We were saying, we are going to the war, we are going to make it. And I must also state that not my whole staff went there. You know, there are people who can resist change, as Mr. Khobe said. I think around 12 people did not accompany us here. But this team, which went there, said we are going to overpower them. And we joined hands and worked together. Those who wanted to resist didn't want to be left alone, so some joined. Unfortunately, KST never came back to come and take them along as well. Discipline in the learners improved because there was no place to hide. Everybody was reprimanding, everybody was guiding, unlike before. We moved from that 68% in 2016 to 94.8% that year. Remarkable. For the very first time, this was the situation in front of learners in assembly. You see the joy about those people who said things will change. There is our teachers changed their attitudes with pride. Now the importance of empowerment transformation workshops. They fix behaviors. Hence we talk about embedding change in the education system. Systems changed. Practices in schools were also bettered. It brought unity and esprit de corps in the staff. We wanted to work together. ETW bring productivity, which leads to improved performance. At the moment, we talk of improved performance. Our meetings for parents, SMT, staff, we talk performance, just like our district team. Learners become ultimate beneficiaries of well-functioning school because there is effective learning and teaching, which is the core business of the Department of Education. And it creates a well-managed school by SMT. The state of our school now, there is upward trajectory on academic performance. We know that we'll never go back. Staff unity, safe and sound school atmosphere that promote teaching and learning can be seen every day. There is improved learners and educators' discipline. Remember, in this case, not only learners were ill-disciplined, but staff as well. Improved curriculum delivery, monitoring and control is happening at my school. If you look there, this could not be the scenes at my school. It was filthy, papers around, but you can see that there is life there and there is conducive environment for education. You can see there. Now this is one of the KST classes, which when Merville went there, was full of graffiti on the walls. But look now, concentration is core business first. We concentrate now on academic matters. Mathematics in my school is also becoming fashionable. Here in term 1, we had these learners who excelled in mathematics. And we put it outside so that everybody can see it, as well as on our Facebook page. There is a star there which you must expect to see her with me and you when the results are announced. Lerato Masole, who got 100% in mathematics. Now she got 100% in physical science in term 2. And you go down in grade 11, learners achieving 99% in mathematics. Grade 10, grade 9, youngsters like Tata Khade, we are coming there with a love of mathematics. So this is what is inculcated by a staff that has changed its work ethic. In conclusion, ETWs, I believe, should not be events like with what happened with me, but must be ongoing processes in our schools. You see, when things get right, our late MEC used to say that, when things get right and you used these methods, the following year you change, and then we go back. This is what happened to me. And I think I'm being vivid and clear that I still need you, KST. There was power in the workshops organized by KST in our schools in Motheo. We are not the only beneficiary. As I talk now, I'm also talking for other beneficiaries in Motheo who benefited from KST. And our school, the Radon Secondary School, is testimony to what I'm talking about. And I am thinking that during this time, when we want to redefine greatness, as our district director is saying, we should be busy defining greatness with KST holding our hands. So we are indeed the district on the rise to greatness. And we also embrace what Mr. Hobe said, no sunshine will find us where there is sunset, where the sunset left us. I thank you.
Wow, that was so mouthful. We thank you too. I just want to look if there are comments on the chat or questions for you gentlemen. But what I want to say, Themba, you will attest with me that listening to the colleagues from Motheo, I think we've done our part.
Yes.
Because our intent was not to turn ourselves into the Department of Education and replicate what the department is doing. But for us, we just look at what is it that is missing in the system, and how do we then come up with tools and strategies and methods that we're not going to do ourselves as Kagiso Trust or as KST, but we'll make sure that the system leaders, district officials, principals, and SMTs in a school, because they are the people that should drive the change, they also understand the end in mind, understand where the journey is. I like that you talked about buy-in, because it doesn't matter how many schools or infrastructure we could have built, but if there was no buy-in, then it was not going to work. And from what you are saying, I can safely say that what you have shared, for us, you don't need us. Because I think you are where we wanted you to be. You are where you are supposed to be. The only thing we could do is just to go back and say, in this journey that you are walking, where else? But we wouldn't want to go back and do things that we have done, which you are already doing by yourselves anyway. So I find comfort that the tools we have provided, the strategies, the conversations that we have had at different levels, either at the district, at the province, and within the school level, where teachers were also part. we have done that. And maybe just to share for people who don't know how these ETWs or retreats are constructed, is that it's where we take the whole school community on a weekend away, facilitated conversation, where they will look into their performance, looking in at themselves, not talking about the department is not doing this, the department is supposed to do this, the parents, the community and everybody, but you were looking into yourselves to say, what is it that we are supposed to do and we are not doing?
Yes.
Why we are not doing what we are supposed to do? And what is it that we can put in place that can make us to do what we have to do? And who do we walk the journey with? That's when, even now, we know that you've got so many sponsors. When you do your teaching awards, it's because now you were given a tool as to how do you bring other people into your space whom you identify that these ones might be able to work with me, can be able to assist. And I also noted from both speakers that you are not only teachers for subjects, you have also become nation builders, because either way, when you talk about the issues of drugs, you had to play being a social worker, you have to play being a policing this, you had to play being a nurse at some kind because others were sick. So the social ills then made you not only to look into the issues of the classroom, but looking into other issues beyond the classroom. And this is exactly how the model, the district whole school development model, wants to achieve. That we want to look into the comprehensive nature of the schooling system and how does it impact or affect learner performance as they go forward. And I can see ziyajika izinto in Motheo,
Yes.
and we know that anyone who wants to be part of this movement, zizojika izinto nakubo. It has not only now only a song. I recall in the few weeks in Gauteng, we had this tremor, and we always have this song in our churches. I know you are a Christian, that Lomhlabu uyazamazama.
Yes.
And we're always singing without an understanding of how Umhlabu zamazama. And when it did zamazama, we were all scared. And I think I'm having goosebumps as you talk about the journey and the successes, achievements that we have done along the way. And I think there is one question which can be applicable to both of you. Someone is asking that what advice can you give to schools that are still underperforming to turn around, whilst you have talked about looking into the system and putting other things, for an example, the top 10 on quarterly basis in your school, and also changing the work ethic. But in my understanding is that attitude is everything. Yes. And attitude deals with the inner person, with the person. It deals about how people behave. You know, with skills and knowledge, those things you can learn, other people can teach you. But no one can teach you to have the right attitude at the right time, at the right space. And maybe just to share that, what else that you might not have shared in the presentation, but when you say things were tough, if you put this in place, then you will be able to understand what are the challenges. So, and I think September, can I also, because you are here, if there is also something that you'd like the colleagues to respond to as we discussed before we have our short leg stretch break.
Yeah, maybe specifically to the district, to the DMT in particular. One appreciates the enormous responsibility of making sure that schools are functional. How does the DMT make sure that the respective schools are aligned with the vision of the DMT.
Thank you, Abdi Temba. For us, it's messaging that has to be kept simple and clearly communicated. Quoting the district director verbatim, he would say, "You cannot over-communicate." So, for an example, how we started with the district mantra, the district on the rise to greatness, we had to say this over and over and over again. We had to say this at different platforms. We had to say this at district meetings. Importantly, we also had to say the same messaging, because there's nothing as bad as contradicting each other in front of people. That I say we are the district on the rise to greatness, district director says we are the district on the rise to greatness, another DMT member then says something different. So this meant that in terms of the mantra or in terms of the messaging, what we want to communicate, as we hold our DMT meetings, we have to be very clear as the DMT to say, this is our messaging and this is what we want to say. When we have meetings with principals, we would sit in what then one will call a war room to say, out of everything else, what's the one thing we want to drive home with this meeting? So that, I think the district director has facilitated very well and continuously facilitates very well, in that even if it was Memagada representing the district here today, you will pick up, the nuances or small nuances of the same messaging that I'm carrying today. So that has been very critical for us, because the district is broad, right? And you cannot police each other as we are working in different operations to say, what are you doing there and what are you doing there? So carrying the same message is always very critical, in that we cannot contradict each other in whichever way. And most importantly, it was about knowing what is happening with primary schools when you are not even in that branch. For an example, the CES for secondary school would even advance EDS, for an example, education and development support activities, while they are at a particular school. So I visit a school for oversight. I don't just have to look at what I'm there for. I will touch one or two other programs that are not even mine, but I will ensure that I look at NSNP, for an example, to say, how are the learners being fed there? That's another program altogether. But ensuring that there's collaboration, and that importantly, you also, as you see a problem, don't sit on a problem. Immediately call your counterpart and say, I'm at a particular school, this is what is happening. So when everybody sees the DMT, they don't see you as a component of but one fraction. They see the district management team as a whole. And they know that as I speak with a certain CS who's responsible for another branch, I'm confident that they will relay the message to their counterpart. So carrying the same message for me is critical, or for us is very critical, because it allows us to be a whole. It allows us to go into the same direction, ultimately, which allows the whole district to then continue into one path. And then getting to your question, Caesar, accountability for us is everything. Accountability at all levels is everything. At DMT level, at broad management team level, at principals level, at school level. So accountability is everything, and it starts with us in the DMT. As I have said, there's no holy cow. I like the approach that the district director will take, because as we go into the DMT, there are resolutions made. And the one thing he'll be very firm about, he would even say in his own words, Mtato Khabe, don't speak a lot of English. Just get down to the bottom line. Was this executed? Was it implemented or not? We are not interested in all these reasons as to why. At your level, at a DMT level, you are supposed to unblock. If there are challenges at a strategic level, your role is to unblock where the blockages are. right? So don't give us all of that, and you cannot report that it was not done because there were problems at a meeting. You had ample time to call whoever to say, district director, I'm experiencing challenges with this and this. How can you unblock this for me? Such that during the reporting time, you can now report to say, it was done, there were challenges, however, these were the interventions. So that's very critical for us to hold each other accountable from the top and going down.
Yeah, if I can come in, Ms. Caesar, Advocacy has said it a lot. Advice to schools that are still underperforming. You cannot do something that you don't love. Therefore, passion in what we are doing drives us. So, sometimes as leaders, we must know that sometimes trust will be betrayed. Therefore, there must be evaluation of whether things are still going right. And there must be visibility by you as the principal, as well as the SMT. Like for example, like Dr. Khobe said, the director knows each and every corner together with his team at the district. They know their problems, even with subjects in schools. They will say, at Leraton, the problem is only economics. So this is what everybody has to do. But if you don't have passion, you will not be able to succeed. So in my school, I say, let SMT lead the teachers and let the teachers lead the learners. That simply means if you go out to go into class, you reprimand on the way to class. But if you leave learners when they are doing wrong, writing, graffiti, then you know that you're not going to succeed. But I want to say on the question of empowerment workshops, let those schools which are still underperforming start with taking staff outside to go and prepare them before they can come into core business. So that thing is working. Just last year, there was another underperforming school in our circuit. The very same Dr. Khobe took them for a retreat, not even outside, but in another school in Bloemfontein. And that school, from 67%, they've gone to 88%. And that was a record, because in the whole Free State, I don't know whether it was in South Africa, they had 450 matric learners. So that is the power of empowerment workshop transformations. So I believe that must be done through small budgets. And then when you come back from those retreats, now everybody must work. And then we'll sing Joko ya how Ebubebe. And then for Joko or Ebubebe, everybody must carry the yoke, not to one side. So all must do it with shared vision. The rest
just to reiterate there, as I've mentioned before, the commitment of the leadership is very critical for these things to work. If we are going to be retreating people, district officials even have to be available, because you'll understand, as you do retreats, sometimes these things are not even in your key responsibility areas. But being selfless and being patriotic to understand that I'm going an extra mile here, because in the example that he's making, I remember I did not have a budget, but I asked the district director to say, look, where can we find the budget? Who can we call? Which strategic partner do you think will perhaps agree to funding this? And he made the necessary calls, and one Samaritan said, no, I'll pitch it. And then it was made possible. So we even have to go an extra mile in ensuring that that leadership is committed to these kind of interventions because they have proven to work. They work.
There's another question for you from the chat.
Okay.
It's from Tsepo Mashiko. He wants to know that. Let me go to. Oh, here's the question. What is the percentage currently of attendance versus absenteeism for both educators and learners?
Wow, that is very, very important question, Tsepo. At the moment, we are registering 96% average attendance by staff. That is remarkable. Fortunately, I've just checked it a few days ago. So, when you go to attendance by learners, there is a template that we use to track learners' attendance. For each and every grade, every day, we have admin clerks who go to different classes. And then it is grade 8, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like we have 7 grade 8 classes. Then we check in 8A how many are absent and who are they. And then we write their names on the template. And then we go to grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. And when we started with this, I was amazed to see that in grade 9, we were recording 98% attendance in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, even 100%. So the average attendance of learners is 98%. You know, last year, our DG, Ndadem was invited by our district director to our schools. And then when he addressed learners, he said attendance is equal to performance step. And then he motivated learners in a song. I like songs. When people say, I get it more. And then DG was saying, come to school every day. Every day, come to school. So this is what our learners are singing. When I say come to school, they say every day. Every day, come to school. So that is the order of the day. At the moment, in term 2 results, we have 92%.
Wow.
And then that correlates well with attendance of my grade 12 learners.
Wow. Amazing. Very amazing. And I know that usually your term 1 results predicts the end of the term results.
Especially us at Lerato.
Yeah.
If we get 90 in term 1,
yeah,
it's 90 throughout.
Throughout. I've seen that. I think another question from Tembelihle. Tembelihle, this is for us as Kagiso Trust. We partner with the Department of Education in the province. We wanted to know, how does a district become part of the ETW? However, now that we are taking out the work that we do, you will see the information when you go to our website at info@Kagiso Trust. You can just be in contact with us so that we can have a discussion as to how you can become part of this. However, from this discussion with Motewa District, we had partnered with the Department of Education and we had a contribution of a rent-to-rent towards the implementation of the program. The program does workshops, there is infrastructure, as Ndate Mhulu has talked about, there is leadership development, there is also resourcing, there is curriculum development, empowering teachers, especially for math, science and accounting. There is also a social program where we're looking into learners that are having difficulties with eyesight, and we've implemented this through our sister organization KST. This is the organization that was formed by Kagiso Trust and Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation, and together we implemented in Motewa district and Fezile Dabi districts. And maybe Mr. Muhulu, I've closed the door for you. The CEO of KST is just sitting right here. I think he has heard your please. Probably he will think about
Please,
it. Yeah, because he's the CEO of KST. We are happy that Tembelile is interested. She's from KZN, Ugu and Umlazi regions, where she's working with 2 districts there. And for us, we have always said we are keen to have an inter-district partnership. So if Tembelile, you can contact us, we can even make sure that the colleagues can come to your district and share the best practices that they had implemented over the years. And some of the things that we have talked about they've done as the district, they are just interested also on the empowerment and transformation workshop. Other questions that are here? Right, who paid for the retreats? I've mentioned that it has been a partnership with the department, so it is paid by both parties. And the length of the partnership, it's a 5-year partnership. However, I think we've stayed longer in Motewa because remember, Temba, when we started in Motewa, we even dubbed Motewa as Hollywood because everyone there in critical positions, they were acting. So we dubbed it Hollywood, and we are so glad that over the years we've seen the results. So the partnership, it's a 5-year partnership, but depending on what are the discussions between the partners that have partnered, it might even go beyond the 5 years that is there. And the coaches that we bring are the coaches that we employ as KT or KST to work with individual teachers. So this is one intervention that does not paint everyone with the same brush. We scratches where it itches you most, not where it itches everybody most. And I also invite people online to continue sharing your questions on the chat. I know that we've been sitting for some time now, almost 2 hours. Let us just take a 5-minute before that.
I'm interested in what Tembelile is saying.
Yes.
And I want to encourage her to cry and write to Caesar and the CEO Tate Temba here. Let me also say, when we go to this retreat, everybody leaves his car. Common transport in a bus. So we become together from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When we come back there, you will never be the same. Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. And that we do it intentional because we want to start this teamwork. To start as you are going there, we know you always go with your car. You are in your office. This one is in the staff room, and that's where you get to know each other better, more than what the person does in a school. And can we just take people online? Please don't leave us. It's just we want you to go and quickly make coffee and come back, and we will be starting again at 11:15. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are we muted?
trust worked standing out. With the premature closure of schools due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Kagiso Trust had to adapt the model to ensure there was as little disruption as possible for learners to be able to study from home. We overcame a lack of access to data by partnering with radio stations to broadcast grade 12 radio lessons. We also hosted study camps to prepare the matriculants for their final examinations. As we empower learners to become productive members of society, so too do our socio-economic development programs help transform the trade and industry market. We assist Black entrepreneurs through a platform to help develop financially sustainable SMEs, as well as market access and technical support. To date, we have created more than 3,100 jobs and invested over 50 million rands in small businesses since 2002. We are committed as ever to playing our part in creating a prosperous, peaceful, equitable and just society. There is more to do, for as Nelson Mandela said, as long as poverty, injustice and gross inequality exists in our world, none of us can truly rest. As one of South Africa's leading development agencies, Kagiso Trust seeks to empower the poorest of the poor, impacting communities through development models that provide sustainable and replicable programs to break the vicious cycle of poverty. We work in education, institutional capacity building, and socio-economic development. Through our investment arm, the Trust is self-funding and financially sustainable, enabling us to partner meaningfully, efficiently, and effectively. In the past 35 years, we have invested over 2 billion rands in 1,800 programs. One of those is the Bayer Snow Day Schools Development Program, which provides for the fundamental needs of schools with a unique, holistic, and sustainable approach. Launched in 2004, the program has been the reason for the improvements in the Free State matric pass rate, with districts where the Trust worked standing out. With the premature closure of schools due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Kagiso Trust had to adapt the model to ensure there was as little disruption as possible for learners to be able to study from home. We overcame a lack of access to data by partnering with radio stations to broadcast grade 12 radio lessons. We also hosted study camps to prepare the matriculants for their final examinations. As we empower learners to become productive members of society, so too do our socio-economic development programs help transform the trade and industry market. We assist Black entrepreneurs through a platform to help develop financially sustainable SMEs, as well as market access and technical support. To date, we have created more than 3,100 jobs and invested over 50 million rands in small businesses since 2002. We are committed as ever to playing our part in creating a prosperous, peaceful, equitable and just society. There is more to do, for as Nelson Mandela said, as long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality exists in our world, none of us can truly rest.
gentleman in the beginning. And now we want to show and demonstrate to you that Imbogodo, when the Imbogodo is in charge, you can see things changing. We are now going to move to the district that we started with as Kagiso Trust in the Free State after we've piloted in several districts in the country, such as KZN, in Limpopo, in Vembe and Sekhukhune, in Eastern Cape, KZN were on the side of Ngutu, and now we went to the Free State. We started to pilot in 2007 to be exact, and we're only looking into 10 schools at the time. But as we implemented, we realized that it doesn't help if you only look at the roof without checking the foundation. And it is in the Free State in Thabo Mfutsanyana district where Kagiso Trust and the provincial department, together with the officials and the district, implemented the district whole school development model, starting from foundation up to post-schooling or exit. And now the person who is going to indulge us, it's going to be Mema Baso. Mema Baso, she studied at the University of the Free State. She also started from the bottom, and she also did the Master's Diploma in Curriculum Studies. She did her B.Ed Honours on Curriculum Studies. She also did the BSc Education in 1991. And her leadership roles. You know, we've got gems here that are not only leading from up, but it is a bottom-up approach, like the value of Kagiso Trust. She started as a subject advisor for life sciences. She also became the provincial subject coordinator. She was once the chief education specialist for curriculum delivery and support. She acted as a district as the district official in Thabo Mfutsanyana, and currently from 2018 to date she is now the district director of Thabo Mfutsanyana of Thabo Mfutsanyana district. Her special motto is that of being a committed servant of the people who believes that teaching and educating learners is a nation-building duty that promotes patriotism. And ladies and gentlemen, I will give over to Mema Baso to share a journey and story with us beyond to 2008. From, I think, Mema Baso, I've known you since 2011. And both me and you, we were arriving. I've just been employed in Kagiso Trust, and you were also being employed in the district. And our first encounter was at the provincial office in Bloemfontein. And from that moment, the passion that you're talking about, it was just oozing from you. And we are so happy that even today, you have never retired, you are still running.
Thank you very much, Ms. Simpazwe. I want to take you through the journey of Thabo Mfutsanyana. I'll look into the introduction, the district profile, implementation of teach and assess strategy to improve curriculum coverage, curriculum management by the departmental heads, school support, and conclusion. My introduction. Mrs. I have talked about the day we met in Bloemfontein. It was a snowy day. where we're discussing the performance of the district. So the arrival of Kagiso Trust in TMET resembles the two sides of a coin, from underperformance and mediocrity to a gigantic target-setting era of exceptional performance. The first era of 2007 to 2010 did not show remarkable improvement in learner performance. So both KT and the district lived in the era of trial and error. Much was put on the table with little improvement in performance. The period of 2011 to 2015 was a period of giant reawakening in both the KT and the district. Both the KT and the district went back to the drawing board and came up with the turnaround strategies that shook TMET to a point of no return. When the district embraces support from partners, I'm referring to partners like KT, it is possible to embed change in the system and learners benefit. This presentation will attempt to share insight on leadership from TMET perspective, focusing on teach and assess to improve curriculum coverage, management of curriculum by the departmental heads, and school support. Just want to take you through the district profile. That Thabo Mfutsanyana district has 5 municipalities as indicated on the map. Phumelela, Nketwana, Maluti Apofung, where KT was camping, Dihlabeng and Sitsoto. Maluti Apofung is where KT was camping, but the rest of the municipalities benefited from Maluti Apofung. There are 13 circuits in the district. The total number of learners is 180,424. The number of teachers in the district, we've got 10,248 teachers. The number of grade 12 learners in 2023, they are 10,060. And the district is supported by 370 officials, both public and OBE, office-based educators. The district, Thabo Mfutsanyana, is serving the poor of the poorest, and it changes lives for better, no matter what. This is due to visionary leadership that goes together with excellency. You see the picture of our MEC. May the spirit of our late MEC continue to rest in peace. Our MEC Makalo Mohale, and our SOD, Advocate Malakwane, they always emphasize support to all our programs that improve teaching and learning. Our MEC will always be saying, Michina idume. Our teachers must teach in the classroom. Implementation of teach and assess strategy to improve curriculum coverage. This is the strategy that has been adopted not only in the province but in the whole country. The strategy is having 5 pillars. Pillar number 1, quality of the daily activities, frequency of the daily activities, marking of the daily activities, corrections of the daily activities, monitoring and control by the SMT, with special reference to the deputies and the departmental heads and oversight that is being conducted by our principals. And B, only the relevant knowledge should be used in teaching and assessment. We emphasize that. I just want to unpack now each pillar to demonstrate to you how this strategy has assisted the province, assisted the district to improve performance. Pillar number 1, quality of daily activities. So the use of previous question papers, together with all other resources, they assist teachers to come up with quality activities. So teachers are trained on the setting of papers of acceptable standard. So you are referring to the low, medium, and high order thinking questions. That's Bloom taxonomy. And we make special arrangements to teach essay type questions, especially scenario type questions. Learners are taught to understand the key words and the instruction words in line with CAP's document, examination guidelines, moderators, and diagnostic reports. Moving to